Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Heather Lewis, and today we are doing a 2 nightstand flip for you guys. We're going to be trying out another new paint. This paint is going to be the Kilz Chalk paint, and you will see my opinions in this video of this paint, and I want you guys to go into this video knowing that this video was kind of all over the place. Not every flip turns out exactly how you want it to be, and that just so happened to be the case for this flip. I, expected some things and some other things happened in return, so you guys will just have to stick to the end to watch and see how this flip turned out. Now, I don't want to give away too many things in this video, so let's get right into it. Alright, so these are the 2 nightstands that I have for this flip, and I got them for about $20 off of Facebook Marketplace. I got them from a guy who made it sound like they were real wood, raw wood, but that was not the case at all. These were built like IKEA tables, and so when I found that out, I wasn't too happy about it. But I didn't know because I had my boyfriend pick it up instead of me, so it's kind of the way it goes sometimes. It wasn't even made out of that cheap material particle board, but it was like cardboard paper. Like, it was the cheapest material I've ever seen. Once I got over how bad these pieces really were, I decided to get the hardware off, and those went straight into the trash. Right here you can see me pointing out the labeled pieces, which makes me think these are totally from IKEA. In the corner of one of these there was a little gouge left in the wood, so I decided to take some wood filler prior to the video to fill it up so I'd be ready to sand on video. So here you see me sanding the piece with a 220 grit sandpaper, and while I was out there I decided to give it a nice scuff sand as well. After sanding it, I brought it inside and started wiping it off with a wet microfiber towel just to make sure that all the dust particles were out of the piece before I started priming. For priming, I used the Zinsser 321 primer. I like rolling my primer on usually, and I have been doing that a lot in the past, but it just feels like it's been forever since I took a paintbrush and started painting it on. So this piece I decided to paint absolutely everything because I was definitely missing it after rolling quite a few pieces. I will say though that I definitely think I need to invest in some sort of tinted primer, because when I'm painting a dark color on top of this white primer, it definitely seems as though I need more coats of the paint. And so it would just be a lot easier if I had a darker primer and maybe less wasteful on the paint as well. You may have noticed while I was priming that I'm kind of skipping the feet of the nightstands, and I did this with purpose. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with the bottoms. I was debating on just taking them off. I was debating on, I honestly don't know. I just wasn't a big fan of them, so I left them plain just to see what I could do with them. In the end, I did end up leaving them on and painting them, so it kind of bit me in the butt not to do it as I was doing all the other steps. After priming was finished, it was time to start painting, and I used the Kilz Chalk paint in Toasted Poppy Seed. I did not buy this paint. It was actually gifted to me by my brother, who tried it and wasn't a big fan of it, so it was already opened, but it was the first time for me trying it. The very first thing I noticed was how thin this was. It was literally like water. There was no thickness to it whatsoever. You may have noticed my boyfriend jumped in and he had his first crack at painting furniture. He's painted walls before, but furniture is just a little bit different. I'd say he did a really great job for this first time, and he was a little bit slow, but all beginners are. And also, after I've been painting this piece a little bit, I noticed that this paint is not my favorite. Not my favorite at all. That's the nicest way I can put it. It's so thin and it gets tacky in seconds. It's definitely not a beginner-friendly paint. So I give Avery extra props for doing his first flip with this Kilz Chalk paint. I thought it was a lot of fun painting with my boyfriend for the first time though. Usually he's either working with the camera work or I set up my tripod and just paint alone. But let me know if you guys would like to see a video of me teaching him the entire process. I think that would be a lot of fun and it could be very educational for you guys as well. Now I'm gonna let you guys enjoy this conversation of Avery thinking he has strong hands. So you know that like I'm not just sitting here like coloring you up. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I thought that that was so funny after looking back at the footage. After a little bit, his hand in fact was tired and he decided to call quits. But he was also a little bit awkward on the camera and I told him that, and so he just sat in front of the camera and stared at it. I don't know what his motive or his point was here, but I thought it was pretty funny. After he had his fun, he got up and gave me a kiss and walked away, leaving me alone to paint once again. But honestly, that's when I'm in my best element. Being that this paint was so thin, I ended up doing 4 coats of this paint. The white primer underneath definitely did not help, which is why I still think that I need to get some sort of tinted primer for these dark pieces. But that is the downside with this paint, is that I did have to do so many coats before I felt I had full coverage. Usually I'm used to doing 2 and max 3 coats. Eventually, prime time was here and I used my clear matte polyacrylic. If you guys have been on here for a while, you know that this is pretty much my go-to stuff, and I definitely needed to seal these pieces. This is a chalk paint that I used, but it seemed extra chalky. I don't know. I'm trying to be nice about the paint, but it is definitely not in my top 3. because I was a bit worried that this paint would somehow get scraped off from being bumped or moved or whatever, I made sure to go ahead and do 2 entire coats of this polyacrylic so that it would give the best coverage and the best protection. At this point, we're just putting the finishing touches on and getting that hardware put on off camera so you guys are ready to look at the final reveal of these 2 nightstands. The 2 nightstands that I had this whole big idea planned for, but because they weren't actually real wood, I had to switch my ideas around and come up with something a little bit different. Although these didn't turn out exactly how I wanted them to, and I think there could have been some other way to make them look better, this is what I came up with, and I think I'm pretty happy about it with having to switch everything all over in the end. Okay, so at the end of the day, these 2 nightstands are finished. They definitely could have been better, but they definitely also could have been worse. There were a lot of things that I tried differently in this flip. The paint was not my favorite. I would say if you're an experienced painter, go ahead and at least try the paint, but this is definitely not a beginner-friendly paint. I can see why my brother gave it to me because he just did not like it for himself. I don't know if I will be using this on another project either. I just think that the paint is so thin and it's hard to work with. It dries. It's weird because it takes forever to dry. I think having the white primer was my first mistake. You know, there's definitely a reason to invest in a tinted primer. It's a lot less wasteful on the paint because the white will peek through if you're using a dark color, especially a dark color as thin as this. As for the actual color of the nightstands, I do like the color. The color is a very pretty, kind of like a navy blue, but also not. It's like a navy blue, but also kind of like a charcoal gray. So the color was very pretty. I just don't like how thin it was, and it wasn't very easy to work with whatsoever. I don't think that I will use this on another project. I may try to gift it to somebody else, see if they like it, but it wasn't a good paint for me. At the end of the day, we did get these pieces finished, and I do think that they are still sellable. I think that I will be listing them on Marketplace for $150, but let's go over the numbers in all. So to be completely honest with you guys, I've had these pieces sitting in my workshop for quite some time. After I found out that they were not real wood, I was pretty disappointed, and I considered just putting them right back up on Marketplace for someone else to try to refinish, but I didn't want them to end up going into the landfill, so I decided to give it a try and try something so that they could be upgraded just a little bit. And I got these pieces off of Facebook Marketplace for $20, and that was probably the biggest expense out of these in all. The paint, as I've already mentioned, was gifted to me by my brother, so I didn't pay anything for the paint. The primer I already had on hand, so I'd say I maybe put $5 of my primer into it. The nightstands were pretty small, so it's not like I used a lot of the primer. And then say maybe another $5 for the top coat. I already had the polyacrylic, but I did use some of it, so I'll take $5 out for that as well. And then the hardware was new. I threw the old hardware straight into the trash. I don't think that original hardware would be something I would ever use again, so I just figured to throw it right out. And the hardware for that was about $6. So if we put all the numbers together, all in was $36, so I think I will still get a pretty good profit if I'm able to sell these on Marketplace. I have yet to get these listed, but they will be up very soon, so hopefully we will see some profits pretty soon. Other than that, you guys, that is going to be all for today's video. I do want to give a special thank you to those who have bought me a coffee since the last video. It is very appreciated and it does not go unnoticed, so thank you so much. But with that, we're going to end today's video. If you have not, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are so dang close to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. I can't believe every time that I click on my dashboard and look at how many subscribers I have, it's, you know, doubled and it's crazy. So thank you so much. I can't believe that there's over 900 of you here supporting me and watching my channel. That is crazy, and I honestly would have never guessed that so many people would be willing to watch me and support me. So thank you so much. Keep commenting and keep liking and keep subscribing. It is helping my channel grow so much. So thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.